Hello, I'm Tylah Tully, and today I'm joined by Optiscan CEO and Managing Director Camille Farah. Camille, thanks again for coming on. Can you start by telling us more about head and neck cancers and their complexities?
Yeah, thanks for having me again. Head and neck cancers are a very complex type of cancer. They're actually a group of cancers that affect the head and neck region, everything from the oral cavity to the throat, the oropharynx, the nose, the salivary glands. So they're quite complex in their treatments. They're debilitating for a whole myriad of patients and reasons. So it's very important to get the management under control.
So tell us about the study you're running on head and neck cancers and how it'll be carried out.
Yeah, so given the complexity of the head and neck anatomy, we're targeting specific areas in the head and neck with specific head and neck cancers. So oral cavity cancers particularly, they're the most common ones. 90% of those are squamous cell carcinomas. And then throat cancers or base of tongue or oropharynx cancers, they're caused by slightly different viral disease, and therefore looking at that is very important. And then, of course, we want to bring in some additional tumours such as salivary gland tumours. We're targeting 50 patients in this particular study, and it's an observational study, which means that we'll only be observing what the surgeon is doing and collecting our imaging along the way, not making any particular determinations using our imaging. So this is essentially the first stage of proving that the technology works in an imaging capacity.
And how is this different from the previous work you've been doing in oral imaging using InVivage, and will this assist that work?
Yeah, so the main point of difference here is that we're doing a surgical study. The previous study we did with InVivage with oral, it was an observational study and diagnosis study in an outpatient clinic. The other point of difference, which is a main point of difference for us for regulatory submission, is that we're using IV fluorescein contrast agent in this particular study. Whereas with the InVivage study, we were developing a topical contrast agent dye, and that requires a little bit more work. The two studies will assist each other, and they will both filter in to developing the AI algorithm for oral cancer specifically.
Finally, what will Optiscan do with the data from the study?
Well, first and foremost, we want to prove that the technology that we have, the devices, the InView and Inform, work on all of the head and neck cancer and head and neck anatomy tissues, given the variation we have there. We want to make sure that we can collect really good imaging with data that supports an FDA submission for FDA clearance. And of course, as I alluded to earlier, the third bit is really to continue to build that AI algorithm for oral cancer, but also then subsequently for other parts of the head and neck anatomy.
Camille, it's definitely interesting work. We'll be watching with interest. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
For more ASX news and analysis, subscribe below.